Hello and welcome to the stream, everyone. Welcome. This is how my team is looking for the game week. We've got Raya in nets, Gabriel bringing up the double Arsenal defence, Gvardiol against Everton at home, which I'm not too keen about, but we'll see how that goes. Van de Ven against Villa at home. Also, Xavi Simons against Villa at home. I would love to not have Xavi Simons in my team anymore, but he may just make it past this game week. We will see. Semenyo, obviously he has to be in there. Reinders, Bruno Fernandes, Haaland, Gyökeres against Fulham away, and Evan Nielsen against Crystal Palace away. So that's how we're looking. I mean, let's quick look at the bench as well. Dubravka against Leeds at home, Senesi against Senesi against Crystal Palace away, King against Arsenal at home, and then Alderete against Wolves at home. If that's not a bench boost, I don't know what is. So I may just have to pop that chip as well. We will see. We will see shortly. But yeah, looking good. Let me know what you guys are thinking and how your teams are looking. Comment down any transfer questions you have in the chat, and I'll do my best to get to all of them today. We'll see how that goes. Fahad, I'm so confused. Is this the wildcard team? No, this isn't my wildcard team. But I can get a wildcard team up for you. You know what? While we're getting the stream booted up, let me show you my wildcard team, and I'll flick through it between pages. So let's do this right here. Fahad, are you wildcarding this week? Because if so, I'll show you what I would go for. Let's have a quick look. Okay. Share page 30. But yeah, interesting week. A lot of chips will be played this week for sure. I don't think captaincy is interesting this week, to be fair. Like, it is just Haaland at the end of the day. But yeah, let's see. We'll see. Okay, let me get my wildcard team up for you guys. So far, this is basically what I would be looking at on a wildcard. Is that not showing up? No, it's not. It's stuck on another page. Well, Fahad, sorry about that. But what we can do is I can just show you my... you can just go look at my video that I did recently. I do a wildcard at the end of it. I only post one video a week, so not that hard to find. Don't have time for more than one video a week, unfortunately. But that is the way. This isn't my full-time job at the end of the day, so... Let me go through the chat, see who's here. So Dan Burnett, Gallagher, hello my friend. Good to see you in the chat, man. How's it going, Dan? Giovanni, hello. How are you getting on, mate? You maybe have one of the most Italian names I've ever heard, by the way. Giovanni De Benedetti. It doesn't get more Italian than that. So you said, I was thinking about a -4. Okay, let's hear it. Ahmad Foden, Xavi, Mitoma, Watkins. Wait, so you have 4 transfers. Okay, 4 free transfers, but you're going to make 5. Ahmad Foden, Xavi, Mitoma, Watkins, Taminta, Sarr, Semenyo, Kudus, Mateta. I mean, that looks like all of those are upgrades. 100%. They are all upgrades. I just wonder whether the Xavi Simons move needs to happen this week. Similarly, the Foden move. If there's a way that... I'm not sure how your budget looks with these moves and what needs to happen to make these moves... to afford these moves, but maybe if you can hold off on like either the Foden or the Xavi Simons move, because I don't think either of those are worth a -4. Ultimately, it comes down to that. So you can make 4 free transfers, but one of those maybe doesn't need to happen. Mello says, sold Xavi for Enzo and Foden for Sarr. I couldn't deal with them blanking. Yeah, so fair. Xavi and Foden to Enzo and Sarr is 100% a great upgrade. I mean, I'll be interested to hear. Obviously, Mello, you would probably assume that I'm transferring Xavi out of my team. I do actually have 2 free transfers, so it is on the cards. But yeah, I think I'm just not sure it's worth the free transfer for me to get Xavi before he plays Villa, because look at Spurs' projected goals. It's so high because Villa have been so shit. Buladula, I'm thinking Xavi instead Kudus. Your thoughts? I would say Kudus is a much better FPL pick, which we've seen based off the points so far. I went for a little punt on Xavi because sorry, I'm realizing that my mic was all the way down here. I hadn't even connected it properly. Um, yeah, I would say that Xavi is. He was a punt that I went for just for a bit of fun. Like on my wild card, everyone on my wild card is pretty template except for Xavi and Evan Nielsen. Funny enough, they're probably the two people I need to transfer out. So those differentials didn't work out for me. But yeah, I would love to go back in time and change to Kudus instead of Xavi. So if I was deciding now, I'd go for Kudus. But I do think there's better players than Kudus at the moment, like Enzo or Sar. COD God '07. Would you bench boost with Alderete? Yeah, I'm definitely considering it. Definitely considering it myself. In fact, before I get carried away with the stream, because I tend to lose track of time, let me add a quick little alarm on my phone so I know when the deadline is coming. Alejandro, good to see you, man. Hello, happy to be back after a few weeks. Would you bench boost Senesi or Estev? Yeah. I think like I have Senesi on my bench, and I'm heavily considering the bench boost. Because for me, with the bench boost, it's like if you have two players that you're like, oh, bit of a benching headache, like Dubravka and Senesi in my team, I could technically start either of them over Raya and Van de Ven respectively, but that's just a bench boost, isn't it? But yeah, I do think Senesi is a bench boost for sure. Zach Howard, good to see you, man. You said apologies last week. I told you Gyökeres would take the penalty for Arsenal. Listen, don't worry about it, Zach. I wasn't hanging all my hopes on that. Um, I'm more disappointed that Gyökeres just looked fucking shite. Like I didn't care whether he took. Obviously, I would have loved if he took a penalty, but like he just looked poor. Like he just didn't look like he was ever going to do anything. So yeah, definitely not looking like he's worth the 9 mil at the moment, but time will tell. Fulham isn't an easy fixture either, but you can see Arsenal's projected goals are third best this week. Big jump from City to Arsenal though. Like what's that? That's 26.26 projected goals, so almost over a quarter uh, higher projected goals City have over Arsenal. So that's, in the context of projected goals, that's pretty huge. Um, so yeah, we'll see if Arsenal can get a goal and if Gyökeres will be involved in it. Fahad says, yes, I am. Oh, you're wildcarding. Okay. You're looking to see what your choices were compared to yours. Yeah, sorry. I always struggle because I only have the laptop here, so I can't do like loads of edits on my. I need to upgrade my streaming setup, but you can go check out my video and then come back to the stream. But in my recent video, I have a wildcard draft at the end. But I go through like a whole analysis throughout the video if you want to hear a bit more in depth about why I pick each player and that kind of stuff using the analytics. So if you want to hear that too, fire it on. Anish Nakra says, should I use my 3 free transfers to swap Bruno and Stack for Enzo and Sar this week, or save them to get 4 free transfers with wildcard and bench boost already used? You know what, Anish? I think use those free transfers. Bruno and Stack to Enzo and Sar is, you know, let me not go straight in and say that's definitely a move to make, because when you think about it, Enzo, he hasn't even been pictured in training, and Sar plays Bournemouth then Arsenal. So the fixtures aren't there for Sar, and whether Enzo plays or not is up in the air. So maybe you do hold out, or maybe you just do one of those moves. Get Sar in, Bruno to Sar, if you think if you think Sar will outscore Bruno this week, which I would hazard a guess he would. Keith Wan says Richarlison and Rangers to Voltamata and Stack / Xhaka for free and for bench boost. So I like getting rid of Richarlison. I back that definitely. All right, Keith. But the thing is, I'm not sure Rangers is a sell. I mean, if it's for free transfers, then fair play. I'm just not sure that's Xhaka. I would go for Xhaka, by the way, if it was between Stack and Xhaka. I'm not sure Xhaka heavily outscores Rangers. Although I do think Voltamata outscores Richarlison. If you're able to do, I mean, it sounds like you can't afford it, but honestly, if that's all you can afford and you have to downgrade Rangers, I'd love to hear what the rest of your midfield looks like, Keith. So maybe drop that into the chat and I'll come back to that. But for now, if that's the only player you can downgrade, Rangers, I do think those moves are worth it, to be fair. Voltamata and Xhaka. Okay, Aidan Wellens, Burn, Lacroix or Chalaba? I'd go Lacroix. It's between Lacroix and Burn. Yeah, I think so. Would I go Lacroix? It's a close one, but looking at the clean sheet odds, Lacroix has much higher than Burn this week. So yeah, I'd go for Lacroix. Tokuris, bro, Gyökeres to Bowen and Bruno Fernandes to Anthony from Burnley. Is it good? I have Caicedo in my team. That's why I'm not going for Enzo. I like it, Tokuris. I like it, yeah. I mean, Gyökeres hasn't been firing, so I understand wanting to get rid of him. I do understand it. So yeah, getting Bowen in is good, and then Fernandes to Anthony from Burnley. I actually love that as a pick, by the way. Like, Anthony's been so good. I love watching him play. He's so good to watch. So yeah, I like those moves, man. And I understand you're not going for Enzo. You already have the Chelsea cover. Zams Nasser says, on wildcard with no Liverpool players, should I consider Gakpo? I don't think I would have any Liverpool players on a wildcard. The thing is, obviously they're, one of, if not the best team in the league, right? But who's going to play up front it's always going to be Salah, obviously. He'll be in there. But Salah isn't really showing that he's worth the price at the moment. And then you're thinking, okay, Isak, but he's going to share minutes with Ekitike. Then Gakpo, it's like, okay, he's also going to share minutes with Ekitike. Verts, not worth the price. Szoboszlai isn't going to start every game. It's not as easy to think, like, you're just going to have to either go for Salah, punt on Isak. Gakpo, I think, is fair enough. Those three in the attack, like, understand that with Isak and Gakpo, you're going to get limited minutes eventually. And then in the defense, to be fair, they haven't impressed me massively defensively. So I would say, yeah, I mean, it's fair enough not going with any Liverpool players on the wildcard. It's fair enough. Okay. GV says, are you bench boosting with the team shown on the screen? Alderete injured. Subramaniam, I think I will be bench boosting this team. Because I've seen some pictures. It's actually so funny. I was showing it on my Twitter. There's a picture of Sunderland training. Excuse me, that was loud. There's a picture of Sunderland training this week, and you can see like someone's leg, someone's calf, and there's a tattoo, and it turns out it is Alderete's leg after some extensive research by the Twitter FPL community. So it looks like Alderete's in training. Sam King, do you think Jared Bowen is a good pick? I think Jared Bowen is a great pick. I'd love to get him in. Lewis Bamford, Chris Wood out for. I already have Haaland and Isidore. I mean, this is probably the hardest question of this game week, is which forward to go for. So the list of forwards I think are worth going for are, for Chris Wood out for, one of João Pedro, Bowen, Mateta, Voltamada. Those are four, and any of those four could outperform each other. And I honestly, hand to my heart, I wouldn't be able to tell you which one over the next 5 game weeks scores the most points. And it's a reason why I'm tempted to just not get one of them in for Evan Nilsson, because like it's so hard to predict. So hard to predict. Zach McParland, hi mate, best of luck this game week. Thank you very much, Zach. Appreciate it, man. LFC Cola, good to see you again. Good to have you in the stream. Quick question. Currently got 3 free transfers with team. Currently you've got Raya, Munoz, Senesi, Gabriel, Virgil. Nice sweaty little 4 at the back. Love it. Semenyo, Xavi, Gakpo, Haaland, Gyökeres, and João Pedro. Is it worth swapping away Xavi and Gyökeres? So you've got 3 free transfers. I understand the itchy, wanting to get rid of Xavi and also Gyökeres. I don't think it's worth the transfer to get rid of Gyökeres. That's what I will say. Unless it's part of like a dual move where you're like, maybe you're going like Saka in, and then like, I'm not sure what the funds would look like with that one, but you could get like, a 7 million forward. Xavi and Gyökeres out for Saka and someone in. But other than that, I just don't know if it's worth the free transfer to get Gyökeres out. What I will say is I do think it's worth a free transfer to get Xavi Simons out. It's just so tough to pick which one, because I'm in the same dilemma as you, because I have Xavi Simons, as you can see, and it's one of those ones where like he plays Villa at home this game week, and you can see Spurs rank, what was it, 5th for projected goals on the teams to target list here. So like, I'm either replacing Xavi Simons with Sarr, who plays Bournemouth and Arsenal the next 2 games, or Enzo, who's an injury risk this week. So I'm so tempted to just roll the transfer. And to be honest, LFC Cola, if I had to make a decision for you right now, I would actually say roll the free transfer. And then you would have 4 free transfers next game week, which would be really nice. Because your team is set up very nicely, to be fair. Let me know what you think. Jeevan Gill, hi, hello to you too, man. Fahad, your wildcard team is very similar to mine. I have Voltamata instead of Bowen, Pope instead of Sanchez. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, those are two like differences that I'm more than happy to concede to. Like Voltamata is also a great pick. Pope instead of Sanchez, fair enough. Yeah, I don't mind it at all. Don't mind it at all. If you have Pope instead of Sanchez, does that mean you don't have a Chelsea defender in your team at all? Because that's fair enough, but at the same time, I do think a Chelsea defender is a nice little way to get ahead of the pack on wildcard this game week because their fixtures are fucking unbelievable. You look at their fixtures; they're well ahead on the fixture ticker, and they're not a bad defense. Their stats have been dampened by the red cards they've been getting. Chelsea are a good defense. I know people are going to say no, they're not. Look at their record this season, but like, look at the game state and the situation of every game they've played. They've had red cards in like half their games. Obviously, if that continues, then they're a terrible pick, but I don't think we will continue to see that many red cards. Giovanni says, okay, maybe waiting Xavi and Foden. Yeah, fair enough. I think it may be just a wait and see. Zach Howard, Bruno and Xavi Simmons got to go. Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's not looking good for those two lads. You have the same front three as me, but only 0.1 mil in the bank. Who would you recommend to change? Think Gyökeres to João Pedro. So I was saying this already. I'm not sure if Gyökeres is worth a free transfer out. Now, I do think that João Pedro will outscore him this game week. I don't doubt it. But I just don't know if it's worth the free transfer. Because you're going to want to save up your free transfers eventually. Coming into the Christmas period, it is one of the toughest things in FPL to navigate that, the injuries, all the rotations. Having a nice little banker of free transfers going into the Christmas period, you'll definitely... you will not regret that. Nikolai says, how do you feel about Ndiaye to Enzo / Sar? You already did Gyökeres to Voltamad and Bruno to Saka. You have one free transfer left. Glad to see your content being back after internationals. Well, thank you very much, Nikolai. It's good to be back, I must say. How do I feel about Ndiaye to Enzo? First of all, I like the moves you made. Gyökeres, Voltamada, Bruno to Saka. You can't fault that at all. And to be honest, that is something I could do with my team, but there's just too many Xavi and Evan Nilsson fires to put out. I would love the luxury of being able to do that swap you did, but unfortunately I don't have that. Ndiaye to Enzo / Sar. As I said before, I just don't think it's the right time. Like, if I had confirmation Enzo is starting today, 100% I would do the Ndiaye to Enzo move, but I'm just not sure if it's worth it right now. Varfiel says, good morning Gallagher, I need to bench one of Lacroix, Paro and Cucurella. Currently benching Cucurella as Rob T has Chelsea least likely to keep a clean sheet. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I approach it as well. To be fair, when you look at this, Lacroix and Crystal Palace and Chelsea actually have the same clean sheet odds, Varfiel. Both 29%, right? So it's actually quite close. It is very, very close. And then who's it? Pedro Porro. He also has 29%. So three of those guys, they're all on those teams. Crystal Palace, Chelsea, Spurs. 29% clean sheet odds. So it comes down to which one you think is going to have the most impact. Like, if I was to guess, I mean, I would probably start Porro and Cucurella and bench Lacroix, because I just think that Bournemouth attack will score against Palace. And to be honest, I'm quite surprised to see Palace clean sheet odds this high up. Obviously, they've been solid, but Bournemouth attack is potent, you know? And if I was a betting man, I would look at this, because this is all based off, you know, the markets and the bookies odds. So they're obviously thinking, nah, Bournemouth they don't have a high chance of scoring against Palace. If I was a betting man, I would say Crystal Palace do concede in this game. I would say that. And maybe that's a reason to keep Evan Nilsson. I'll see. GV Sunburn Yaman says, Liverpool is sitting on the top for attack this game week. Salah and Gakpo goals possible. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I would love to be able to punt on someone like Gakpo, but if you have that luxury and you're on a wild card, I don't mind it. Because the Liverpool fixtures do swing. They do swing in game week 12. So you might just hop on them now. Matev's Biber says, Callum Marshall an option. I do think he is an option. As a nice little eighth attacker, you know? Someone to rely on just for like a little bench boost every now and then. You know? Hopefully you will never have to play him. That's what I say. Mr. B, who to start, Ekitike or Senesi? Uh, Honestly, fuck, that's hard actually. I would say Senesi, just expected minutes. Ekitike can come on and get 5 minutes, and you're like, what have I done? You still think Isak not ready for 90 minutes? No, I agree, but that's why I don't want to have Ekitike in, because if Isak was ready to play 90 minutes and we had that assurance, then it would be a case of, okay, Ekitike either plays or he doesn't. But we don't have that, because in this situation, Ekitike will probably come on and get a little 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's just not enough to justify starting him over Senesi, I think. Offside Footy F1, hello mate, good morning. Good to have you in the stream, as always. Rate your wildcard 8. Okay, your wildcard, and let's see it. You got Pope, Dubravka, standard. Gabriel Timber, little double Arsenal defence, okay. Chalobah, you got Anderson. Then you got Saka, Semenyo, Enzo, Sarr, Reinders, João Pedro, Bowen, Haaland. Mate, I love it. I love it. I mean, this is very similar to my wildcard draft. What I will say is that if you could find a way, I mean, I'm not sure if you could, because in my wildcard draft, I was like, I want Newcastle defense, obviously want Arsenal defense, and I want Chelsea defense, right? But I also want Anderson. So then it's like 4 players already picked, and then the 5th player is like, who do you have as your 5th defender? Oh, you do have Chelsea defense. Sorry, I skipped over Chalobah. Mate, honestly, I love this team. Like, you've got Newcastle defense covered, double Arsenal. So you got Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea covered, and then you have Anderson. That's a nice little pick in there as well. So who is your 5th defender though? Because you only have Gabriel Timber, Chalobah, Anderson. You're missing maybe a defender in here. I assume it's Alderete or some 4 million defender. No, I love the team. Love the team. Mine is very similar, except instead of Pope and Chalobah, I've gone for Sanchez and Byrne. That's just because I was trying to switch it up a bit, It's arguable whether Sanchez is completely nailed on to that team, but it's one of those ones, Pope and Chalobah versus Sanchez and Byrne. It's pretty close. BP15 FPL says bench boost active. Yeah, I think it may have to happen. Yep. Mark Edwards, hi Stephen, captain Isak over Haaland. Top of your mini league, Liverpool have highest projected goals this week. Mark in Cornwall. Well, thank you, Mark. Good to have you in the stream. Captain Isak is a risk, right? You have to acknowledge the risk you're taking with that move, but you're top of the league. What I will say, right? I love taking a good risk. Who doesn't, right? But when you're top of your mini league, I just feel like playing it safe is usually the smart play. Like, if you were 3rd in your mini league, I would say do the Isak captain, because then you can gain on everyone. But the Haaland captaincy, I would say, Mark, it's a nice way to stay, because everyone else is also going to captain Haaland, most likely. And to be honest, if I had to predict who would score more points this game week, I would say Haaland, because he's just looked like the best player in the league for scoring goals and FPL points so far, besides Semenyo, obviously. But yeah, I would say go for Haaland captain as a nice way to keep ahead of everyone. Giovanni, okay, waiting for Foden and Xavi means waiting, taking in Semenyo and Kudus, and out taken out. So you'd take out Ahmad, Mitoma, Watkins, Sarr, Minta, Mateta. Would mean punting on Crystal Palace at home against Bournemouth. It's tough one, Giovanni, because then you're also putting on them against Arsenal the next week, which isn't an easy fixture. I'm not so sure about those moves. Waiting for Foden and Xavi. Would you consider... I mean, Ahmad, does Mitoma have to leave your team this week? I guess he plays Newcastle at home. Watkins surely has to go. Oh, you're in a tough spot there, but the thing is, Mitoma to Minta feels like a bit of a sideways move, I will say. If there's a way you can avoid that one, I think you should consider that route. Fahad, offside footy, your team value must be crazy if you're able to get those. Yeah, I didn't actually think about that. You must have a very, very high team value. You said Semenyo is in your team since game week 1. Your game week 8 wildcard team is just right. With 0 million in the bank, you had lost your team value on Nottingham Forest and Bowen and Villa assets quite early. Now you got them in again at a discount. Mate, you've absolutely played a blinder there. That is fucking unbelievable. Yeah, to be able to afford that team is unreal. But the fact that you have 0 mil in the bank is just makes it so much more satisfying. Okay. Trying to fly through the rest of these questions, guys, because we have a little over half an hour left. Okay, Keith 1. The midfield is Foden, Kudus, Fernandes, Semenyo, and Rangers. Which do I sell to fund the move for Richarlison to Voltemade? Okay, here we go. So Foden, Kudus, Fernandes, Semenyo, and Rangers. To fund Richarlison to Voltemade. So I'm looking at Foden. I'm also looking at Bruno. Bruno's a better FPL asset than Foden. I'll say that. Foden's a bit more of a spicy pick. But I do think Foden is more of a sell than Bruno is. That's what I will say, Keith. So I would say do Foden to Enzo or Sar. I like that. And you can fund Richarlison to Voltemade. Yeah, that's what I would go for. And hold on to Bruno just for... I just think he's a better FPL asset. Maybe people will disagree with that, but I don't think you have much case for that. I do think Bruno is a better FPL pick right now. Tanuj says, what do you think about Bruno to Saka and Ndiaye to Enzo? Yeah, I like that. Because Bruno and Ndiaye do have to go. Sorry, let me just go back to you, Keith. Because I do think Bruno is a sell. I just think Foden is more of a sell. That's what I think. But yeah, Tanuj, I think Bruno to Saka and Ndiaye to Enzo, I like that move. Just beware, Enzo may not start today. May not. Harry Butt says, what to do with Strand Larson? Yeah, I think Strand Larson has to go. I mean... Look at those projected goals for Wolves. It's just not looking good for him. I don't even know what price he is, but if you can fund a move to get him out, Harry, I would look into it. Maybe a double transfer to get rid of him. Dan Burnett. Gallagher, are you drinking out of a disposable cup? DM your address. Let me send you a pint mug. Yeah, I'm in the fucking trenches here, Dan. Someone send me. I'm not going to send my address. Not that any of you FPL guys would be like... sending a squat team to my house or anything, but yeah, it actually, I went out for a coffee, so it's not like I made this in my house. I went out for one and I brought it back. Yeah. Okay, Fahad, yeah, your team looks great. Offside footy, fair play. Yeah, agreed. Offside footy, looking good, man. You're looking set up. Zidnex, should I bench boost? I have Enzo. I mean, it's not really enough to say yes or no to that, unfortunately. I would really need to see your whole team, because not only would I need to see your bench, I would need to see why you're benching those players over who. So send me your full team and I'll let you know. Aidan Wellens, who would you double up on for Arsenal in defence? Gabriel Timber or Gabriel Raya? If I could go back, I would do Gabriel Timber. Yeah, I would go Gabriel Timber. Zach Howard, what about Gyökeres to Voltemade and Bruno to Saka? If Saka is on pens or corners, I need it while Arsenal have this run of fixtures. I like it. I do like it. Like, I think if you have the free transfers to make this move, Gyökeres to Voltemade and Bruno to Saka, I do like it. Like, you look at my team, it is something I could do this game week, but there's other parts of my team that I need to fix first, like Xavi Simons, like Evan Nielsen. So it's one of those ones where I'm like, if the rest of your team looks good, Zach, I would go for it. But if it doesn't, then I would maybe just hold off. Last chance, Damo says last chance saloon for Salah and Bruno. Yeah, fair. Yeah, they're on the fucking chopping block, so they are. Salah in the chat. Bowen or Voltemade on Wildcard. I just slightly like Bowen a bit more, but I think it's such a toss-up. As well as Mateta, like those three, you could go for any of them. Adrian Vidanov, Voltemade to Gyökeres, Voltemade to Gyökeres and Eze to Ndiaye. I wouldn't be getting rid of Eze. I actually like Eze as a pick this game week. And Voltemade to... that's confusing me a bit. Sorry. Voltemade out to Gyökeres? I think it's the other way around. You'd want to be getting rid of Gyökeres and Voltemade in. Fahad, I don't know if I want to triple up on Chelsea. Already have Enzo and Pedro. I wouldn't worry about that. I think the Chelsea triple up is nice, to be honest. Like, if you look at those Chelsea fixtures over the next 5, no one comes close. So I think it's a nice little differential if you're on a wild card to have triple Chelsea, which not everyone can get. Matevs Biber, thanks for the tip again. I got my wild card active and Watkins, Wilson, Elanga and Wirtz bled my almost 1 million in the last 7 weeks. Yeah, that's tough. Your team value is just going down and down, isn't it? Sam Ansel, hi mate. Would you bench boost with Dubravka, Estev, Josh King, Van de Ven on the bench? Yeah, 100% Sam. Yeah, I like it. Dubravka, Estev, Josh King, Van de Ven. Love it. Really like it, yeah. I would definitely do that. Okay, GV Subrayaman says, Enzo has been given only 45% to start the game. Yeah, so it sounds like he could be benched. Not sure if he's fit to go. Not sure if he's good to go. Lewis Bamford, start Senesi or Esteve? Tough one, but if I had to start one, I'd probably go Esteve. Just based off the clean sheet odds, like Senesi's is quite low compared to Burnley. Sorry, Bournemouth's is low compared to Burnley. And I always just go off these clean sheet odds, to be honest, when I'm looking at this kind of stuff. Nikolai, start one, Senesi, Ndiaye, Tarkowski, or Mukiele. This is the dilemma I have if I don't do Ndiaye to Enzo. Okay, understood. I would probably start Ndiaye there, just because he's on pens, and like it's either you start Ndiaye or Mukiele, I would say. Just based off the clean sheet odds, Mukiele probably has the highest. I would say, yeah, third highest against Wolves at home. You know what? I maybe actually start Mukiele over Ndiaye. I think he probably outscores him this game week, which is mad. I'd start Mukiele there. GB says, start Senesi or Rodon? Probably Rodon, honestly. Again, looking at the clean sheet odds, Senesi's is quite low. Damo was planning on bench boost with Richards and Senesi. Is it worth it? Both DEFCON, hopefully, which is enough. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I like it. Richard and Senesi, hope for a little nil-all. Both of them get some DEFCON points. Don't mind it. LFC Cola says, would you go from Virgil to Burn or another 6 million defender? I'm not sure if Virgil is a sell this game week. They play Man United, who I know they always turn up at Anfield, but like I could see a clean sheet for Van Dijk. And the thing is, I actually am looking at Van Dijk to get him in the near future. I think you're kind of ahead of the curve if you already have him now. GV, Ekitike has been given a slim chance to play. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Offside Footy F1, Rodon is your fourth defender. Yeah, nice team, bro. Love it. The only problem with Newcastle defence is they are lacking OG fullbacks. True. Burn is a makeshift and won't give us much DEFCON. Maybe Botman will, but Pope will give us clean sheet, save, bonus points. Yeah, good point. The other thing with Chelsea defence is Badiashel's out injured, and I'm saying that in a way that like Cucurella is nailed on to start, not in a bad way. I think Chelsea defence can cope with Badiashile being out, even though he's been quality. But yeah, it means what do you say? Chalobah is definitely good to go. Good to go. I like your analysis there. Makes sense, man. Makes sense. Oh, we have a super chat. Ayo, wait. IO13. Okay, good to have you in the chat. I'll have to buy you a pint for this now because I don't want to take a fiver off you. But I will answer your question, Io. Hello, Mr. Gallagher. Who do you think is the best Premier League player at each position? I'll let you choose the formation. Okay, this is a fun one. Okay, Raya in nets. We'll go for a 4-3-3. Let's just go off this season. I would probably say Timber's the best right back. Best centre backs, I would say I've really liked the look of. I mean, it's tough to pick the centre backs this season, but there has been a few impressive ones. I would say right now probably team of the year. I'd have Senesi in there. And I'd probably have like Gabriel or Saliba, one of the Arsenal lads. And then left back, Cucurella, I would say has been the best. In the midfield, Caicedo at the 6. I mean, I really like... I think Declan Rice is underrated. I think he's probably my 8. And then number 10, tough to pick, but I would say this season the best number 10 is probably... I would have loved to say Wirtz because I really wanted him to do well. Even though I'm a Man United fan, I love it when a player comes in and bangs it up. But the best 10 in the league this year, it's tough to say. Like, maybe, like... Has João Pedro been playing at the 10? I guess he kind of has. There's not been any class acts at the 10 this year, I feel. Maybe I'm missing someone obvious. And then on the wings, again, not that easy. Like, Semenyo obviously on the left wing. On the right wing, it's probably... would you just say Salah? He's come up with so many clutch moments already. He's not been his best, but he's probably been the best right winger. And then striker picks itself, Erling Haaland. But yeah, good question, Io. Love it, man. I'll have to buy you a pint with that one. Appreciate it, bro. Let me know how your FPL team is doing. What kind of dilemmas are you looking at? You don't have to send a super chat. I'll answer it anyways. Don't worry. Okay. We'll go back to the other questions. Frank Golden. My team is Raya, Dubravka, Van de Ven, Senesi, Gabriel, Anderson, Rodon, Semenyo and Dai, Kudus, Bruno, Reinders, Haaland, Jokeres, and Pedro with 4 free transfers. You have 4 free transfers. Okay, I like the team. I would say if you have 4 free transfers, Frank, I would probably do the Bruno and Jokeres to Saka and like Bowen, Voltemada, Mateta, one of those guys. Because the rest of your team looks good. Maybe in Dai to Enzo or Sar as well. But yeah, your team looks solid and you have 4 free transfers, so you must be doing well this year. Valentin Nedia says, I only have 4.7 mil and need a striker that I might bench boost within the next few weeks. Any suggestions? I mean, I've not really been looking at the real budget strikers. Is Marshall that price? Because I know people are talking about getting Marshall in from West Ham. But let's see. So like Krupi Jr. is getting some minutes. Yeah, I would go for Marshall. He got 29 minutes against Arsenal there. He's 4.4 mil. You're not gonna. Hopefully, you won't ever have to play him. So I'd go for him, just to save a bit of cash, because you don't really want to invest too much in that position, anyways. Kochi says, any update on Anthony? I really believe he will do good if he starts. No updates that I know of. None that I know of. Speaking of updates, let's have a look and see what are the odds that certain players start. Let's have a quick little look and see, first of all, if there's any leaks about Enzo starting or not. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so we have at Jump the Wave on X. She is Emma. She's really good with these expected, predicted lineups. So I always go for her for them. But it looks like she's been a little bit inactive recently, unfortunately. I was always relied on her for a lot of my stuff. But let's see real quick if we can find what Chelsea are doing. No, nothing yet. I'm going to search Chelsea predicted lineups, and because I know a lot of people would love to hear that Enzo is starting. But yeah, I mean, I just don't know. Does he start? Buonanotte in the 10, it'll probably happen. You know what? Sorry, going back to your question, Ayo. Enzo has probably been the best 10 in the league because he's been playing there, with the absence of Palmer. But yeah, I'd love to see like someone like Estevao or Buonanotte in the 10. Definitely Estevao. I think he's a great player. So just for as a football fan, I'd love to see him do well there. Okay, I'll go back to the FPL. Caffeine says start Anderson against Chelsea or Mbumo against Liverpool. I'd go for Mbumo against Liverpool. They're both difficult fixtures, but you'd back Mbumo to outscore Anderson. Shika says, hello sir, I'm Wildcard, torn between Enzo versus Chalobah and Voltemada versus Mateta. Enzo versus Chalobah, they're in different positions. Do you mean just like as a Chelsea cover? If you're picking one of them, I'd go for Enzo. Between Voltemada and Mateta, that's even more difficult. I'd probably go Voltemada just about. JB, late to the stream. Any news on Alderete for your bench boost? Let me find out for you, Jay. Sorry. Yeah, let me find out, because I would love to know that as well. Let's find out. Okay. Alderete. I mean, like, as far as I know, I think he'll start. Yeah, it looks like he's been training. It looks like he's been in training. That's all we know, though. We don't have any other information, but that's enough for me to bench boost, honestly. I just want to be rid of this chip. Get it gone, man. Stephen Gallagher, in die to Enzo or roll? The thing with Enzo is, like I said, we're not sure if he starts. So probably a roll. Probably a roll, Jeevan, I would say. Damo, morning to you too. Pedro is like the Marmite of fantasy. I fancy Bowen or Volta more. And then if you want cover, Enzo is the man. You know what? I 100% agree with you. Because João Pedro is like, you either love him or you hate him. And actually, to be fair, I think a lot of people probably hate him at the moment if you're an FPL, if you have him in your FPL team. He's not really been delivering. But because he's so highly owned and because it's such a toss-up between him, Bowen, Voltemada, Mateta, I just like going for the lower owned picks because, like, you gotta find your edge somewhere. And yeah, I would pick Bowen or Voltamada if, you know, if it's between one or the other. But then again, João Pedro likely scores the most points over this stretch of 5 game weeks because the fixtures are so good. But I do agree that Enzo, you can kind of cover him with that. Get the Chelsea attack in with Enzo. How to Tech says, play Caicedo or Ndai. I'd play Caicedo, yeah. Okay, Mark Edwards, thanks Stephen for answering my captaincy question. 11th in your league as well currently. Have a good game week and weekend all around. Mark and Cornwall. Thanks Mark and Cornwall, good to have you in, man. Yeah, 11th in my league. Is anyone else here? Like, is anyone here top of the league? Because I'd love to hear it. Let's have a quick look at my league. I haven't even looked at it because, I mean, obviously I'm nowhere near the top. I have not been having the best year, but Antonio F is top in the league. But I can see you there, Mark Edwards, 11th in the league. Love it, man. Keep it up. Keep it up, man. Okay. A. Lamau says, hello, mate. I'm thinking going Van de Ven and Munoz to Timber and Richards. Already have Raya. Just not confident on Arsenal away at Fulham. Last 2 visits have been the best to Craven Cottage. So, I'm not sure. I do like getting Timber in. The thing is, I'm not sure if it's worth going Munoz to Richards because it just feels very sideways. And I don't mind having Van de Ven this week because they play Aston Villa at home, who have been so poor. Aston Villa have been so poor. So I don't know if you need to make those moves immediately. I do see the thinking though, and I do think Timber is a good pick. I just don't know if it's worth the transfer this game week. Zid next, Raya, Senesi, Gabriel, Burns, Semenyo, Enzo, Reinders, Sar Gordon, Haaland, Jokeres, and then your bench, Strand Larson, Van de Ven, Rodon, Dubravka. Is this a bench boost team? Yes, 100%. I'd bench boost that all day. Yeah, love it. Really nice bench. What is this name? Dumisani says, Rangers or Ndai? Rangers, I would say. Bench Rangers or Rodon, says the Statums. Bench Rangers. No. That's a tough one, you know. I'd probably bench... I'd bench Rodon. Yeah, I'd go for Rangers. I think higher upside. Between them, it's like they could both score points, but I think Rangers has a higher upside. ATL's says, hey mate, Senesi or Richards? I would start Richards this game week. MLZ says, hi, which 2 out of 4 would you start? Van de Ven, Senesi, Richards or Alderete? I'd probably start Van de Ven and Alderete there. Boss, should I sell or keep Salah? I mean, you can keep Salah. You can keep Salah. It's like, it's so tough at the moment because it's, you know, he's not worth the money. But if you already have him in your team, I don't mind holding on to him because not everyone's selling him, and he is Mo Salah. Like, we're gonna want him back at some point. I can't see myself not having Salah again at some point this season. He will come back stronger. Liverpool are just that good. They've just been a bit off it. I think they will come good. The question of whether he's worth the money, I'm not so sure. But if I already have him in my team, I would be tempted to hold on. Offside footy F1. Nuno is setting up 5-3-2 with 3 centre backs and 2 wing backs. Makes Paqueta and Bowen play as 2 strikers now that Fulkrug is injured. Souček is also back, which will help them defensively. Bowen is hot now. Yeah, speaking of Bowen, let's have a quick look at the poll. It's looking like people are liking the Evan Nielsen to João Pedro move. Offside footy, maybe you're saying Evan Nielsen to Bowen is the play. You know? Maybe that's the play here. 120 votes, 39% to João Pedro, 32% to Bowen, 28% to Roll. Yeah, I mean, I'm so tempted to Roll, even though it's the lowest in this poll. I'm just like, looking at these projected goals, like, Bowen could be the play, honestly. But I will have to transfer Bowen out eventually. And that is my alarm to make a little bit of to get a kick up the hole, as they say. I'm going to play my bench boost off screen. Let me do that. Or maybe I can throw it on the screen here. Wonder, can you guys see this? Boom. Okay. No, my laptop's tripping out. Okay. Let me just put it back where it was. Yeah, I'm going to bench boost this team, lads. I do think it's worth it. I do honestly think it's worth it. Okay, bench boost, play, chip. Here we go. Now about the transfers. This is Bit of a bigger question. What transfers do I make here? Like, I honestly don't know what is worth it with this team. It's quite tough to figure out, but it's such a tough one. It's like, do I just roll the transfers and do nothing? Like, it feels so passive, but at the same time, it's like I have such a hankering to make a transfer. But should I? Should I have that? Let me quickly go through the members' comments chat real quick. Sohail, good to have you in the chat, my man. Hello, hello. You've used 3 of your 4 free transfers. Richarlison to Mateta, Gyökeres to João Pedro, and Tarkowski to Timber. Your team is now Raya, Timber, Gabriel, Lacroix, Foden, Rangers, Bruno, Ndiaye, Mateta, João Pedro, and Haaland. Dubravka, Senesi, Stack, and Anderson on the bench. Anyone you would start in your subs? I think you've nailed it, to be honest. Senesi first on the bench. Honestly, I think you've nailed it. Your team is nice because you have a few, like, it is quite template, which is a good thing, by the way, because it means, those are the players that everyone wants. But you've also got, like, Foden in there, I quite like it. Like, having 1 or 2 differentials is always good. So I do like the Foden pick. And yeah, your transfers are solid. You had to get rid of Richarlison. Getting Mateta in was a nice play. I think a lot of people making a forward transfer this week aren't going for the likes of Mateta, but he is such a good pick. Gyökeres to João Pedro and Tarkowski to Timber. Those are all big upgrades. Love it, man. IO13, no worries, man. A fiver definitely won't get you a pint in this city anyway. And your question, you've got Salah captain right now. If you had Salah, would you be tempted at all? Yeah, I mean, Salah against Man United is just a sure thing, isn't it? It's just a sure thing. And I saw your team last night, and I know you have Haaland in there as well. So I see the temptation to just go against the grain and go for Salah as a pick. So I love it, man. Go for it. Go for it. Offside Footy F1 says Newcastle last 4 away games have ended 0-0. Their next 3 to 5 games are away. Looks like they're more likely to keep a clean sheet than score. So maybe Pope, Byrne, Botman are better than Gordon and Voltemad. Yeah, I see what you mean. Maybe a little mix to spread the risk, I don't think double Newcastle defence is probably the play considering all the rotation and the injuries they have. But I do like Pope and Voltemada as like a little duo. Yeah, I do. We'll see if Voltemada's on pens as well with Gordon if he's on the pitch. That should be interesting. That'll be very interesting. Sohail, thank you, sir. Good luck. Thank you too. Sohail, before you go, what do you think of my moves? Let me get your opinion because I know you always have some sage advice. Do you think it's worth me doing Evan Nielsen out for João Pedro, Bowen? To be honest, if I did it right now, I would be just tempted by João Pedro. I would. But I'm just not sure if it's worth the transfer right now. We'll see. Okay, let me fly through some of these questions. Guys, we got just a little over 10 minutes to go. Okay. Marin Kapic, hello sir. Joined late today. Have you made any transfers? Also, bench 1 between Ndiaye and Senesi. Best of luck. No transfers made, but I have bench boosted. I must say. Between Ndiaye and Senesi, I'd probably bench Senesi. Just start Ndiaye, yeah. Giovanni says, in the end, probably doing only Ahmad Watkins to Sar Bowen. Probably waiting 2 weeks to get Mateta in, Gyökeres out. You know what? After all the deliberating, I think that is the play. I do like it. Yeah. Ahmad Watkins out, Sar Bowen in. 2 nice upgrades. Love it, man. Sanjay Patel, mate, would you do Gyökeres to Magenta or Mateta, sorry, and Van de Ven to Timber. Van Sven and Magenta is crazy. Van de Ven to Timber. Yeah, I would do... I'm not sure Gyökeres is a priority transfer out right now. I just don't know if it is. I'm not sure if those are worth the transfers, mate. I'm not sure if they are. Richard says, great video as usual. Sell Fernandez and Richarlison for Enzo and Bowen. Already done. Bench boost. Yeah, Fernandez and Richarlison to Enzo and Bowen is a great set of moves. Love it. Already done. Bench boost. Yeah, love it. Nice one, man. And says, can I captain João Pedro this week? I mean, you can. No one's stopping you, but if it was my team, I wouldn't do that. Offside Footy F1. I think Evan Nielsen to João Pedro should make you go for the next 7 to 8 game weeks. If Enzo and Caicedo are out for today, João Pedro could be the only talisman left. Yeah, that's something to consider. Sohail also says, I would go to João Pedro because he will be on pens with Palmer and Enzo out. That's why I wanted him in, and Forest is struggling. Yeah, Forest is struggling big time. To be honest, I am tempted by the João Pedro move, and I might just pop it now. Because I want him over the next few game weeks, so I might just go for it, you know? I might just have to go for it. Yeah, let's do it. João Pedro in. And I get him at a little discount. Didn't he get a price drop this week? Didn't João Pedro get a price drop? Let me see real quick. Price fall round. Forwards. Yeah, João Pedro dropped in price this week, so I'm getting at a little discount, which I love to see. Evan Nielsen to João Pedro. I'm going to pop it. Confirm. We've done it, boys. I'll show you the team now. Here we go. Let me get a little one of these ones going. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. And let me... I'm doing a bit of editing off screen, guys. 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes to go, by the way. So get those teams sorted. Get those teams sorted now if you haven't already. I highly recommend you do it now. I remember last season it was absolute mayhem with like late transfers, because the amount of times that like the website would just crash last minute, it was crazy. Like it was happening every week basically. So yeah, if you can avoid that at all costs, just do your transfer now, I would say. Just do it now. Okay, so there's my team. Let me get this nice and pretty for you guys. But yeah, do the transfers now if you haven't already, and I'm gonna just fix my team up real quick and then get back to you guys, because surely I can help with one or two more before the stream ends. Okay, and let me go over here and make sure I can actually change my screen, because it's tripping out a bit. Okay. Let me get rid of that. Okay, this is really annoying me a bit. Okay, we've got it. Or do we? All right, let me go back and let me just get your questions done, and I'll show you the team after. It'll be a surprise. Okay. Only reason you took out Gyökeres is because you simply don't rate him from the eye test. Seen enough of him. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. João Pedro did price drop, which I absolutely I'm loving that. I kind of saw it coming, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I love to see it. Love to see it. Oh, here we go. We're back. Okay. We are back, boys. Let me get my new team up. Here we go. There we go. Quality is a bit low for some reason, but listen, it'll do the trick. Okay, now that's my team. I've bench boosted, and I've done Evan Nielsen to João Pedro. Yeah, that's the moves, man. I mean, João Pedro is like, he's so highly owned, and I'm like, what? Why do I have him? Because everyone else has him, but I just do think he'll score the most points over this stretch. At the end of the day, that's FPL, isn't it? Like, you can do as much as you want deliberating on who's highly owned, which moves are differential, etc., but it's one of those ones, you just got to go for the player that's going to score the most points, isn't it? And on that note, I'm going to... Actually, you know what? I'll keep the poll open. Keep the poll open for a bit more. Offside Footy F1, fun fact, I did buy Voltamata right after activating my wildcard at 7.1 mil. Sold him today to book profit of 0.1 mil, which helped me buy João Pedro at 7.6. That is insane, especially considering you literally have 0 mil in the bank. That is so fucked. Like, how did you get away with that? That is funny. Let me, I've just noticed that my vice captain is on Bruno Fernandes. So let me, let me change that really quickly in the, crazy situation that Haaland doesn't start or doesn't do, like, I don't think that'll ever happen, but I just would hate to for that to happen and then look and see that Bruno Fernandes is my vice captain. That would have been an absolute disaster. But offside footy, that's hilarious. Like the fact that you just about afforded that team is so funny. Okay, Rafi says, do you recommend bringing Enzo in this week for Xavi Simons or someone else, or just keep him for another week? I think keep him for another week. Like my plan with Xavi Simons is keep him for the next two and then just get Sar in. That's probably my move. Yeah. Like the thing with Enzo this week, if we had assurance that he was starting, I probably first of all wouldn't have gotten João Pedro in because he's likely to be on penalties with Enzo out. But if we had assurance Enzo was starting, I'd probably have done Xavi to Enzo. Yeah. James says, hey Gallagher, bench and dilemma. Start Strand Larson against Sunderland or stack against Burnley. I'd probably go for Strand Larson. Yeah, I know, like both of them are pretty it's much of a muchness to be honest, and I just think Strand Larson has a higher upside, so that's what I'd go for. Offside footy, this is peak FPL fun. Yeah, it is. I can't believe you got away with that. That is insane, but that is literally like if you weren't clued into FPL, you wouldn't have been able to do that. First of all, you wouldn't have known to do that. And it reminds me of, I don't know who it was in the chat, or someone commented on one of my videos, and I know I mentioned this last week on the stream. I just think it's so funny. They were like, bro, I've been copying your team all week, all season, and now I can't afford it. What happened? And I was like, this is clearly just like a noob who doesn't follow FPL and forgot that price changes are a thing. When I wildcarded, I obviously wildcarded everyone in at the start of the game week, so I'd catch all the price rises. But they were not aware of this, and they couldn't afford to copy my team anymore, which is quite funny. Lads, only 3 minutes left, if even. Get your transfers in. Krypton, are you putting Bruno as vice? No, sorry, I'm not. I just have this as a screenshot. João Pedro is my vice captain. Druv says, Van de Ven or Senesi, who to start? Look at my team. I've got Van de Ven starting. Even though I've bench boosted, I would have played Van de Ven. Dan Burnett, cheers for the stream, mate. See you next week. See you next week, Dan. Looking forward to getting that mug off you as well. Do you see Bowen as a better pick than Gyökeres in the future, says Aiden. You know what? In the future, I don't think so. Right now, I would say yes. Just it's always based off fixtures, isn't it? And I've seen Bowen, he's been doing it for West Ham, and they have good fixtures. So I would say Bowen right now is a better pick. In the future, I think Gyökeres scores more goals than Bowen over the course of the season, though. But I won't hang my hat on that one. Don't quote me on that, let's say. Ariel says Bruno or Mukiele to start. Start Bruno, your 9 million midfielder, over your 4.0 million defender, I would say. Andy, Calafiori, Xhaka, and Voltemada, or Cucurella, Eze, and a dead forward spot. I don't mind the dead forward spot. I actually quite like it, especially that Marshall got a few minutes. I think you have to sacrifice budget somewhere. Offside footy, I think Salah is going to haul against Man United. Maybe everyone is overlooking Liverpool attack. Yeah, I think... No, I agree. I was saying earlier, I think Salah will be back in all of our teams at some point this season. I think that is likely the case. He is Mo Salah at the end of the day. Guys, 1 minute to go on the deadline stream. If you haven't already, like the stream, helps out a lot. Really appreciate it. And subscribe, join the community if you haven't already. I hate having to say that stuff. I feel so cringe, but it does help me a lot. And this isn't my full-time job, but yeah, if you can drop a like on the stream, that would be huge. Sohail, I've gone stack over Ndiaye, mate. Think he has the better fixture. Yeah. I would do that too. Don't mind it at all. I know people always say start the penalty taker, but how many penalties are Everton going to get against City? Lads, there goes the deadline. And unfortunately, I am going to have to end the stream pretty swiftly because I've got plans today. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you all. And hopefully you have a good game week. And we'll see how these transfers go for us. Huge week for FPL. There's so many avenues everyone can take, especially with the forwards, the bench boosts, the wild cards. I mean, captaincy is kind of obvious, but I think it's looking it's looking like an interesting game week. So here we go. All right, guys, gonna have to leave it there. So thanks so much for coming onto the stream. Really appreciate it as always. Let me end the poll so you guys can see the results of that. And yeah, there we go. It looks like João Pedro was the play, and that's what I ended up going for. So I'm just letting you guys decide on my transfers. All right, guys, have a good one. Have a good week.